Thank you for joining today's executive webinar session on how to set SOPs effectively for better performance at your company and introductions to QDMS software. Today, I have my colleagues with me. I have Alex Kvartirov from MRAS Consulting, and Alex will be addressing fundamentals of SOP management and performance management. Also today, I have Sam Watt with me. Sam is Pre-sales software engineer at Bimser International, and he will be introducing QDMS software and how you can manage your SOPs digitally in this digital age. First of all, I'd like to invite Alex to our virtual stage to talk about fundamentals of SOP management and performance management. Alex, if you're ready, I'll make you the presenter so that we can learn from you. Okay, you are the presenter now.
All right.
Yeah, looks good. Thank you, Alex.
Can you see the screen? Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Again, thank you very much, Kevin, for inviting me to present this session on standard operating procedures, SOPs. And I'm going to really discuss and show you that it is very important to have good, effective SOPs, which will definitely improve your company's performance. So we'll discuss that. But before I start with my presentation, I just want to very briefly introduce myself and my company, MRAS Consulting. I personally am a certified ISO 9001 lead auditor, and I'm the sole proprietor of MRAS Consulting. I've established my company in 2015 after a lengthy career as a project manager in a large aerospace company, which is certified to the AS 9100 quality standard, which is the aerospace standard. So now I currently provide consulting services for various businesses to help them both achieve and maintain ISO certification. Now, back in 2018, I came across Bimser International, and I was very interested in certainly their software products. In particular, one of the tools, QDMS, was very appropriate to the work that I'm doing. And Kevin gave me several demonstrations on the capability of this tool, and I was became very interested, and therefore became a Bimser Solutions partner. So I tried to help companies to actually adapt the tool, the QDMS tool, for their ISO environment. And I also provide a number of webinars. It used to be lectures, but now with COVID, it's mostly webinars on various ISO topics. Well, today the topic is SOPs, standard operating procedures, and they're a very important aspect of any organization. I'm going to mention ISO because ISO is providing a very good guidance on how to manage your quality management system. You don't have to be ISO certified to pick up some of the ideas or concept that I'm going to be talking about, because it's just good business practice to do that. And really, the whole discussion of standing operating procedures is really tied into your quality management system, which I'm presenting right now. And obviously, the whole concept of QMS is that you have inputs, mostly from the customers or the regulatory agencies. Then you go through some process or number of processes within your organization, and then obviously you produce an output, which is either a service or a product which is delivered to the customer. And the QMS structure is that it has kind of several layers, if you want to call it that way. Obviously, the top layer is your policy. Okay, you know what is really the purpose of your quality management system, and obviously, it's the most important thing is to meet your customer requirements, and you would like to also exceed their expectations. But also, a very important aspect is for you to remain competitive is to implement a continuous improvement process or policy. Now the next layer is, well, how do you achieve that? And this is where the standard operating procedures come in, and I've circled that because this is what I'm going to focus on today. And again, how many procedures you're going to have is really depends on your organization and what are your also internal processes. But some of the typical ones, they're by no means a complete set of procedures, but certainly a control of documents and records. That's a very important part of any business. How do you deal with non-conforming product? And unfortunately, you will have to deal with that. You want to minimize the number of non-conformances, but some will show up, and we have to obviously deal with them. And then obviously you'll have to have a process to deal with corrective and preventive actions. Also, internal audits is an important process. So again, procedures have to be in place for all of these. Now, obviously, there's a lot more procedures that you will have for your organization. And then obviously the responsibilities is who's going to do it. And again, that's based on your organization, who has the roles and authorities to perform certain tasks, making sure that you have the resources available and also the competence, which means the training, and that you've established a communication system within your organization. So let's look a little more into procedures. Now, again, as I mentioned, I'm looking at the ISO standard as kind of a, as a reference, because it does provide, even if you're not ISO certified, it certainly gives you good guidance as to how to structure your quality management system. So I'm just looking at the ISO 9001 standard, and I'm looking at where they are referring, where ISO is referring to the procedure, the term procedure. And I've identified a few paragraphs, and I'm just going to explain again what ISO is expecting the organization to do with procedures. So the first thing is they have a definition of a procedure, and what a procedure is defines exactly how to execute an activity or a process. And as you're aware, ISO requires you to have internal processes. So how those processes function, operate, is really defined in a procedure. So that's very important to make sure that your procedures reflects exactly what your processors are doing. I'm looking at now paragraph 7.5, which is titled Documented Information. And again, here they said that all documented information, which by the way includes your internal procedures, must go under proper review and approval. So again, those procedures must be reviewed and approved to make sure that they actually do the intended purpose. So if your procedure does not match, let's say, the process, then your responsibility is to update the procedure to reflect what the process is actually doing. Then another paragraph in the ISO standard, paragraph 8.5, is the paragraph which covers production and service provision. So this is really the meat of what you are doing, what your organization is doing, either building the product or a service to be delivered to the customer. And here, again, it is saying that the procedures have to be used properly, and along with all the other documentation, they have to be maintained and kept up to date. And finally, in paragraph 9.3, management review, it is the responsibility of management to make sure that all activities performed are according to the procedures. So again, in performing the management reviews, that's the responsibility of management to make sure that the procedures are indeed up to date. All right, now, what are some of the acceptable formats to you know, generate your SOPs? And by the way, it's up to the organization. Certainly ISO does not specify any format. As long as the information is there and it's correct, you can have just about any format. And there are 4 formats here, typical formats that I've identified. The first one is the written step-by-step list of the steps in the procedure, and that's just a text document. You can have a checklist, and that'd be another way of making sure that the procedure describes the process that you're trying to implement. A flowchart. Flowcharts are commonly used because they kind of show the relationship, decision-making points. So I think it's a very useful way of defining or expressing your procedure. It may be a little more difficult to maintain, but certainly it gives you a very good pictorial view of what is happening within your process. And also some hierarchical formats in at different levels of structures that could be depicted as a hierarchy. So any of those certainly acceptable, and whichever one is more appropriate for your organization, you can certainly use that. And as a conclusion, I just want to go over, what are the benefits of adopting and documenting SOPs. And like I said, if you are certified to any of the ISO, then you have to have procedures that reflect your processes. If you're not, I think it's a good idea to still follow that process of having procedures, because as you can see, it gives you some organization to your business. Certainly, whenever you bring in new employees, the training is simplified because your procedures you define all your processes. So it's available to all the employees to review, and certainly for the new employees, that should be part of the training. And nowadays I see that a lot of people are changing jobs, so you would expect to get new employees, so that will simplify the indoctrination of new employees. Okay, it disseminates important information to everyone in the organization, so everybody has access to it, and in order for the processes to work properly, people have to know what the processes do and what are the procedures. So it should be readily available to everybody. Certainly, if safety is in the workplace is important, and certainly processes to maintain safety should be in place. And again, the procedures will define what you should do to maintain safety in your organization. Sometimes processes have sort of maybe holes in them. They're not totally maybe well established. So I think defining that will identify maybe what I call some blind spots in your company processes, which will help clarify or improve your processes and also document them accordingly. Once the employees follow your processes, and by the way, processes are intended to be always improved, all right? But again, your procedure should reflect your latest approved process, and therefore, since it's defined, it's on paper, productivity should be improved by following those procedures. And obviously you get a more consistent result because you know, people get sick. You have to have substitutes to do the work, and you know, the only way to do that is if all those procedures are on paper, and whoever's taking over can quickly get on board with the help of those procedures. And obviously, testing, if you're delivering a product, testing is a very important process. And hopefully by developing a very thorough testing process, your number of defective or non-conforming products should be reduced. And so not only does it help your bottom line, but it makes your customer happy to get close to zero defect products. And then again, very important is you want to make sure that you stay compliant with all the laws, the regulations, external regulations. Regulatory agencies have certain regulations that you have to meet. So all of that should be reflected in your processes and accordingly in your SOPs. So I think that this gives you a pretty good idea of the advantages of having procedures, but they have to be maintained and they have to actually reflect exactly the work that you're doing. So that basically concludes my presentation. That's, you know, my message today. And again, thank you very much for your attention, and I guess I'll pass this on to Kevin.
Alex, thank you very much for this educational presentation. So now we know the importance of putting together SOPs, some types of SOPs, and how actually they can help improve performance at your organization. So now let's talk about QDMS software in the scope of digital SOP management and performance management. For this, I'd like to invite Sam Mudd to our virtual stage so that Sam can perform a show and tell session, a brief demonstration for you of QDMS software. QDMS is a quality, risk, audit, performance, and compliance management software. Bimser International has been developing QDMS since 1998. There are more than 1,000 corporate clients using QDMS, and there are more than 1 million users of QDMS using QDMS on a daily basis. So having said that, I'd like to hand it over to Sam. Sam, if you're ready, please take over the screen. Looks good.
All right, and thank you for joining today's webinar. And this is Sam, the pre-sales software engineer of Bimser International based in New York. In the following, I will demonstrate you QDMS, our quality risk audit compliance management system. And I will show you how we can manage our SOPs and also related activities by using our system. So first of all, QDMS is a web-based system so that we can connect to QDMS after deployment, meaning after the installing our system on your cloud or on-premise server. Then you can connect to your QDMS by using any web browser. Furthermore, QDMS is a permission-based system. That means not everyone can see everything. Users will see what they are supposed to do based on the permissions that are granted to their accounts. Different users have different permissions based on their role, position, profession, department, and group. So right now, I'm logging in as the admin so that I have the full control of the system. And right after we log into the system, we can find all the pending tasks and also the tasks on this homepage. And we can have a quick connection and start managing our requests and also the tasks by opening the widget on this homepage, meaning the notification widget. On the top left, this is the main menu of QDMS. Thanks to the modular structure of QDMS, and we can pick and choose the modules that we want to have and deploy on our server. Therefore, based upon the challenges that we are facing or the modules that we want to have, then we can have them installed on your server. And today, we will dive into the control document management modules and also the training management modules in order to manage our SOP and make sure everyone in our organization, they are familiar with the SOP that we have uploaded and prepared by using our system. First of all, we get into the control document management module. In this module, we can upload our new documents and the documents include the SOPs and also the procedures, specifications, policies, and even training materials. We can upload different documents under this module in different formats, like a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, video, audio, and even image. Furthermore, we can perform our revision process of our documents, saying we have an updated version of our SOP, and we can perform our revision process and upload the latest version of our SOP to the system. And as for QDMS, this is the final stop for all your control documents, meaning when you are using our system, all the documents that you have uploaded in the system will be officiated in your company. Otherwise, those will not be officiated or published in your company, meaning anyone holding a document that is saved in their local, those are not a control official document in the company. Furthermore, we can manage the folder structure, and we can manage our folder structure by document type, location, department, and even team that we have in our company. And once we have our folder structure ready and upload our documents, we can read our documents within the built-in browser of QDMS. When you are using QDMS, you don't have to install any other software or application for reading your documents or your control documents. And instead, the content of your document will be shown in the built-in browser of QDMS. And again, QDMS supports different document type that you upload to the system, like specifications, policies, procedures, SOPs, and so on in different formats, like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, PDF, image, or video and audio. So it will be shown in the built-in browser, which you will see. It will show on your screen in a minute. And you don't need any other software or application to do so. And the content will be shown in this built-in browser. And on the top, there are different tabs that you can interact with. Like you can find the document information. For example, the version number, the creation date, the revision date, the creator, or the one who carried out the revision process. QDMS saves all the versions of your document in an archive. And with the permission, you can always get back to the previous version of your document, like all the original version of your document. Or the previous version will not be deleted at all by using our system. And again, with the permission, you can always open the original one or the previous version and put this on your built-in browser. And while we are uploading and updating the document, you're more than welcome to manage the permissions to the users or user groups, including reading, printing, revising, getting back to the previous version, or deleting the document. You can also add the users or user groups into this distribution list while you are uploading or updating the document. And once this document is newly uploaded or updated in the system, then all the users will receive a notification in their own QDMS account and also in their own email inbox. So this is two-way notification feature that we have in QDMS in order to make sure you will not miss any important task that we have scheduled by using our system. For example, there is a SOP that we have newly uploaded or updated in the system. And then all the users right here, especially to the operational and also the management level, they will receive a notification and tell them, we have now a new SOP upload in the system. Everyone have to follow it and also read this updated SOP so that everyone will be familiar with what is up to date in our organization for compliance purposes. Also, we can manage the approval flow for all our documents that we upload or that we are going to upload in QDMS. So we can invite different users or approvers into this approval flow for approving this this uploading request or updating request. All the actions will be recorded in an archive of QDMS with the username, date, time, and also action type. This is an audit trail that allows you to keep tracking all the actions that performed in your system or against your documents in order to make sure your data that you have saved in our system are insecure. In every single module of QDMS, there is a reporting tool that allows you to generate different ready-made reports. And before you have in your report, you are more than welcome to set up certain conditions or criteria. In this example, that is a document status report. And then we can set up what kind of records that we want to see. And then we can select like those in revision and those are published. And then we can make our searching. All your records will be shown in a list. with the condition or the criteria that you have set up, you're more than welcome to export your report into Excel or PDF for sharing with any responsible parties or for your own documentation. On the top, you can also find the search bars provided that allow you to make your quick searching. For example, I'm going to enter part of the keyword like involve, and then the system will update the records in the list accordingly. And in QDMS, we also have the training management module. And in this training management module, we can define different training plans. As for the training plan, it can be used and set up for having our SOP training, for example. And the training plan is like the goal that we want to achieve. Meaning, in this example, we are going to have a SOP training. This is our goal, and how we can achieve our goal is we train everyone in our company about this latest SOP or certain departments, including, for example, the manufacturing and then the packaging and also the shipping departments. And therefore, we have our planning, and we can define our training item under this planning. And under this planning, we can specify like who will be invited and what is the subject that we are going to cover. We can define the training definition, the subject as the study description, the date and also time, the passing score if there's any, and also who will be the trainer, like who will perform the training to the trainee. So it can be someone invited internally, meaning someone in our company, or we can invite someone from other parties, meaning from the third party. Anyone from other organization, we can invite them, and then we can define the training responsible person, meaning who invites them, and in case there is anything, any issue or any follow-up question that we have to follow with this trainer, who will be the responsible person. So right here, you can tell QDMS is very flexible for managing our training planning and also training schedule. Any document that you want to upload as a reference to the trainer and trainee, you are more than welcome to upload it right here, and you can browse your local and attach it along with your training item. Once we save it, the trainer will receive this training schedule, and then we can invite different person into this training. So that means we have our training, and then we can invite different training trainee to this training, and this user list will be saved in our system. Meaning in QDMS, we record all your employee record, and we can pick and choose who should be involved in this training. And as for the trainer, that is very important that when after we performing this training, we can record the attendance of this training. So based upon who we have invited, and then we can record it who participates this training, especially to our operations, that to the trainee, to the operators, they have to took certain training before they start managing or they got involved in the production or operations. For example, operating the manufacturing machine, or participate in a certain production, like manufacturing our product, the final product. So right here, we can make sure everyone have the enough skill set and knowledge before they perform their effort in our production. So we can record the attendance, like if they have participated in this training, and also the score that they have scored in after the training, in case there is certain tests or certain quiz that we have in our training. And in this training management module, we also have our report that allows you to generate different reports, like the summary report based on the training, or based on the staff, or based on the departments, so forth and so on. And also we have our graphical report that allow us to generate different reports, and we can set up our criteria or standard, and then find what kind of training that we have scheduled in the past, and those can be shown in this particular graphical report. And by using QDMS, it has a native mobile application for Android and iOS devices. That means for managing and reading our control documents, and also managing our training, including the training plan and also the training item, those can be managed by using the mobile application that is available for Android and iOS devices, meaning you can use your smartphone or tablet for updating or uploading your documents, and also managing your training schedule. It comes to the end of my demonstration on a high level. If you want to learn more about QDMS and see it in detail, feel free to contact us. Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Alex.
Sam, thank you very much for show and tell session. As seen during the demonstration, you can manage your SOPs digitally on QDMS. You can manage versions, you can manage permissions, distributions, and tracking on QDMS software system. In addition, you can also manage your training activities with regards to training of SOPs and instructions. Those trainings can be scheduled, can be performed, can be recorded and reported on QDMS digitally, which is ready for your internal use, as well as ready for audits for certifications, audits for internal activities, and audits from your customers and suppliers. To learn more about QDMS software, its benefits and features, you can visit our website, which is www.bimserint.com. Before we end our session, Alex, do you have any final remarks that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yes, sure, Kevin. Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that the managing your procedures, standard operating procedures, is a very important aspect of documentation control. And I think Sam did a very interesting presentation on the capabilities of QDMS and what it can do to help you manage and control all your documents. And obviously, proper documentation control is important because you have to make sure that the changes are managed and approved. And as I mentioned, SOPs are another part of your documentation set. So maintaining your SOPs within QDMS, I think, is an excellent choice. And I think that it will help you really manage not only your SOPs, but all of your documentation with the help of the QDMS tool. So that's, I think, my takeaway for today.
Alex, thank you very much for the final remarks. I'd like to thank our audience for your time and for your interest in our executive webinar session. And we wish you a happy Thanksgiving and happy holiday season. Thank you very much and have a nice day.